Okay, guys. Sorry, had some technical hiccups, but we're here now. So thanks for sticking with us until we actually got live. Um, Tonight, let me do my usual intro. I'm your host, Jared Moore. This is Live Wire, and you guys know the drill. If you have questions, pop them in the chat. We'll try to get them asked. Tonight's guest is Cheyenne Bearfoot. She is a member of the Chiricahua Apache tribe, and she is also the host and I believe the video producer for a new PBS Voices series called Sovereign Innovations, which is really cool, and we're going to talk about it tonight. There is a link to PBS's page with Sovereign Innovations videos in the description of this video, but they also post all of their stuff on YouTube on the PBS Voices YouTube page. So you guys, if you don't want to mess with going to PBS website, you can just subscribe to their channel on YouTube and get the latest Sovereign Innovations. And thank you tonight for joining us, Miss Bearfoot.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is really exciting.
Awesome. So I guess to start off with, what is Sovereign Innovations and what is the philosophy behind it? Because I think it's very interesting.
So, Sovereign Innovations is a show that really explores and showcases the brilliance and magnificence of everyday Indigenous innovation. It's got a little bit of history, it has a little bit of science, it's got some, contemporary pop culture musings in there, lots of humor, lots of educational payoff. And really, what we do is try to uplift and highlight Native communities and Native people today, um, in within. Oh my gosh, this is such like a ramble. We try to uplift and highlight Native people today and showcase really like what they're doing. So I've spoken with like Native fashion designers, filmmakers, artisans, chefs. Just a whole wide array of like different Native folks from different Native tribes as well. So that's what Sovereign Innovations is.
That's awesome.
And yeah.
And I want to tell you guys too that these videos, they're very well produced and they do have humor and everything in it, but also they're great. Like each video is like a Native American info dump on a topic. So you can watch these videos, you can learn a whole bunch of stuff about different things. Just last night I was watching the video you guys did on wampum. So it looks like you guys are doing a lot of research on each of these videos. What is that process like? Do you have like a team of people doing the research? Is it just you? Like how does that happen? And then what editorial process is there?
Yeah, definitely. So, we have for the most part like 2 to 3 main writers. We just hired someone on to write 2 episodes of the show. But while somebody might, get like that writing credit and they might be doing like a bulk of like the researching and writing, we all take a part in the fact checking process. And we really try to like uphold and value traditional Indigenous knowledge ways of knowing, versus like grabbing maybe like a whitewashed like scholarly article or pointing people into that direction,
Right.
which is a little difficult sometimes, especially when you consider there's like a lot of within like different Native communities, there's so much like oral history that doesn't necessarily get translated into like larger pieces of academia. So
Right.
that can sometimes be a challenge there, but ultimately, yeah, we all take part in writing and researching and fact checking. And then we have a fact checker through PBS Digital Studios as well, who is supplying just even more support there. And this is really all like one in the spirit of collaboration, but also because there's been so much like just misinformation and
Mm.
misrepresentation about Native communities. And we really just want to make sure that we're coming correct and not adding to like the pile of misinformation,
Yeah.
and misrepresentation. So yeah, we all take part in that writing process. I am actually in the middle of writing our 7th episode right now. I can't share what it's about. Um, but then I also wrote the pilot episode, Indigenous, what does authentically Native look like, or what does it mean
Mm.
to look authentically Indigenous? And that was showcasing Native fashion designers. And I wrote the 3rd episode on architecture. But I kind of like sprinkle in like bits of writing for all of the pieces, because we try to make it sound like it's coming from my voice, even if
Mm,
I'm not the one writing it. So I'll usually add like personal anecdotes or jokes, or maybe I'll
right.
drop like a fact or something in there. But yeah, it's very collaborative.
Well, that's great. We've had a question pop up in the chat. Sherry Jones is asking, how do you choose subject matter and artisans for an episode?
Yeah. So when I first got together with the Sovereign Innovations crew, we had this giant like brainstorming meeting, and we just put all of the topics that we wanted to do. We knew that for like a first season for this show, we really had to get like about like 8 videos. I think that's what it like was. So we
Mm-hmm.
generated 8 topics between 3 of us, my director, Benjamin Yaza, and then my producer, Lee Francis the fourth. And we just brainstormed all of these ideas, and it was stuff that, you know, we either had a personal connection to, where we really saw there was like a lot of misrepresentation out there.
Mm,
Part of our brainstorming also kind of hinged on the idea of like tropes and misinformation. So we
yeah.
just did one on native food sovereignty, and the inspiration for that was you know, using every part of the buffalo, and like what does it mean to like use every part of the buffalo. So
Yep.
that's kind of, you know, what inspired that one. Or my native fashion episode, the inspiration for that was really like there's no one way to like look native, there's no one way to like look indigenous. Like I look very white passing, but like I'm half Chiricahua and I'm half white. um and I thought that it was really important for a first episode to kind of talk about that,
Mm-hmm.
and really just kind of like upheave all of those like misconceptions, I think, of what it means to look native. And then in terms of reaching out to people, um, native communities like really show up
Mm-hmm.
for what, and I'm just so blessed, like between Lee and Ben and like all of their connections to people. You know, they know like so many people, and then they have people who know people, and then they put us in contact, or we just do like a little bit of researching, because, you know, it's I like to think, you know, native community is like really close and tight knit, even if like we're not from the same tribe or from the same state or
Right.
everything,
Yeah.
but you don't know everyone. So
Yeah.
yeah, bit of researching, bit of personal networking, some very like gentle social media stalking. um
So it sounds like, or well, I guess I'll ask, um, how did you get involved with Sovereign Innovations? Was it something where the program was already going to happen and they approached you, or you pitched an idea to somebody? Like, how was that? What happened with that process?
So I think what a lot of people don't know is actually that this was supposed to be like the second season of a little show called Indigigenius, which Lee originally hosted. So this was supposed to be season 2 of Indigigenius, which had more of like a STEM, like sciencey type
Mm-hmm.
of angle. The videos were a little shorter, and they had a few like restrictions due to that series like launching and during like the height of the pandemic. So, you know, lots of green screen, not tons of like
Right.
in-person stuff. So it was just like very limiting. So I was originally supposed to come on to be Lee's co-host, and then there was like some discussions, and it was like, well, you know, I don't think we should have like it should be a co-host situation. I think we just need to have one host. So I think I was going to be brought on as a writer, and then Lee did some talking and thinking, and he was like, you know, from the beginning, I've always been about like putting like native women in media first. So if it's a one host situation, give it to
Right.
her.
Right.
Put her like in front of the screen, and, you know, in the writer's room and all that stuff. So I was offered the position to be a host, and it was PBS DS who reached out to me. I work I have 3 jobs. So I work at KQED, which is, you know, San Francisco's like public broadcast,
Mm-hmm.
public media channel. And I was working on a show called Above the Noise, which was running for 7 seasons. And I was really fortunate to be part of that team for the latter 2 seasons. So the 6th and 7th seasons. And it sunsetted, so it's no longer, but you can still find the videos on YouTube. And so all of that is to say that I'd actually hosted 2 episodes of Above the Noise while I was an intern at KQED for that show, and they were both on Native issues. So the first one was talking about residential schools, the second one was talking about land back, and it was something the show hadn't really done before. So PBSCS saw those and they were like, hey, you were like really great at this, and we have a show that's like all about Native communities, and we think you'd be really great. And I was like, okay, and now I'm here.
Great. Well, this is where we all end up. So, but that is amazing, the progress there. And then, so you guys have you got one season in the can, and you're in the middle of season 2. Is that where Native Sovereign Innovations is at?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. That's my.
No. It's so we know that we're doing like this pilot season, or like this season 1. I don't know if we will have a season 2. I think we're just kind of trying to get through the next 2 episodes. We keep talking about cool video ideas for a season 2. I think it'd be awesome to have a season 2, because you can't there's just so much more to discuss than only 8 videos, and there's so many more people we want to talk to, places we want to go, and I'm really seeing the difference and the impact that the show has had on Indigenous communities, in the comments section in real time. All the time I see comments about how people are just really thankful to hear these personal stories from these people who look like them, they feel seen, they feel represented. And I reflect back on my own life growing up. I didn't really have programming like this, where a Native woman in front of the screen talking about what it's like to, from her own personal perspective, what it's like to be Native, the successes and the struggles and the beauty of it all and everything. So a season 2 would be really cool, but no word yet.
Well, PBS, come on, you guys need to get on the ball with this. What's going on here? We were talking before we actually got in here, where we were trying to work out the tech deals, because Miss Bearfoot has seen Bad Press, the documentary about the free press battle here and everything. And that's another thing. It's why, somebody pick PBS, look at Bad Press too, there's a lot of natives producing stuff, and it could be easily. Well, that brings this to mind. Is Sovereign Innovations going to be seen on TV anywhere, or is it just a web-based thing?
Ooh, good question. For right now, as far as I know, it's just a web-based thing. We're just gonna keep, we're gonna close out this. We have 2 episodes left, so we're gonna close out this season in the summer on the PBS Voices YouTube channel. But as far as I know, I don't think we have plans to move onto TV.
Okay.
Which I think is okay, because I feel like YouTube provides a level of accessibility that you don't necessarily have with TV. I mean, unless we're on an app. I know there's HBO and Netflix on people's phones now, so that could be kind of cool.
Yeah.
And and PBS, I do believe, also has an app or a streaming service. So
yes.
That it could be cool to get on that, and that would be great.
Yeah. So you guys are on the PBS website and then on YouTube right now. That's where you can find it. Do you guys go to Facebook or anything like that? Is there any other outlets that we haven't mentioned that you guys people could catch the videos?
So just on YouTube, just on the PBS Voices YouTube channel. But if you want, you could probably access, if you have a smart TV or a Fire TV, you could punch in the YouTube app on your TV, and then it feels like you're watching cable or something. But just if you want the cable feel. But for now, you can find us on YouTube. We have YouTube Shorts, PBS DS. You can follow them on Instagram, and then you can see my face on their Instagram on occasion, and other Native voices there.
Yeah. Well, I want to remind you guys, if you're watching this and you got a question, pop it in the chat. I don't see any more questions. I do want to tell you that, a lot of what you said echoes with me, because when I started working at the Nation at Mvskoke Media, we were doing a TV show, and our whole objective was to show what modern citizens and Native Americans look like now, and dispel some of those, misinformation or just stereotypes and things that are associated with Native Americans, because just like you were saying earlier, it's important when you, for a lot of people who are Native American, maybe they know they've been told they're Native American, but they are detached from their culture, they're not on the reservation, and they don't really know what their particular tribe, what the cultural practices are. They may not have any information, and if there's people out there that are spreading that information, that's good for them to see that. And then also, if it's somebody that's also Native, it's even better because they can see, hey, this person is like me.
It feels like more like a reliable source as well, I like to think, because I was talking to a friend not that long ago, and I was saying that, being on like this journey to like acquire like more knowledge and understanding like of like my background and my culture, it's so much, it has a different feeling to it when I'm in community talking with someone face to face versus when I'm trying to like Google answers,
right,
or like read a book, because there's just something that's really irreplaceable about that connection and that feeling and that shared experience that you get by talking to somebody one on one. And that's actually kind of like the part that I treasure so much about interviewing. So like this show has actually been like really healing for me and really affirming as well. Even though it hasn't been easy, it's just been so great to be in community and talk to different like Native folks, and especially like Native women, and hearing like we've never met each other before in our lives, not from the same tribe, have had different lives, but have had like similar shared experiences. It is just like so affirming for me.
Absolutely. Yeah, and speaking of Native women, Meredith Johnson, who is also a reporter here at Mvskoke Media and just happens to be my wife, has posted she has posted a question in the chat. She says, "What is the most surprising thing you've learned in your show or doing your show?" Is there something that like really blew your mind, or you were like, I didn't know anything about this, or I assumed it was different than it is?
Yeah. I mean, every episode there's just so much to learn. But I feel like the architecture episode that I wrote, like learning about Chaco Canyon and how it was formed. And I mean, I'd always known like indigenous communities have a different relationship to land than like non-indigenous or just like Western people, because we really, you know, historically have just built with the land instead of like on top of it. We're like following like the natural like curvature and stuff like that. So I think in doing the research for Chaco Canyon, just learning how the tribes there were using like irrigation practices, like they were charting the rain cycles, the precipitation cycles, and taking that water and irrigating it so it could like water their crops. It's like, how like freaking cool is that, you know? Like, because historically within popular culture, natives are usually just like regarded as like savages, or like, you know, really primitive. Like we didn't have the technology to do these things, and that right there dispels like decades of this misleading, like misinformed trope. It's like, what are you doing? Like, what is going? It's like the facts and the history have been here for a very long time, and it's just really fascinating how like that just gets ignored or subverted. But with the show, we're really like taking that back, and like we're reclaiming like some of this knowledge or these histories, and we're just like spreading it out to the world. So I think that episode, I learned so much about that episode, and it was just like so fascinating. And then talking with Lydia Wallace Chavez about how wampum was made, and like her story, like that was just so incredible to just be there and like hold like the wampum beads and to be in her space. And side note, she gave me and my director like the best coffee ever. It was like this native like owned coffee bean brand. It's like her cousin or something. And it's just so good. It's such great coffee. So I will always hold that memory. very fondly.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's a real native thing is the coffee. Is there coffee here? Do we have the coffee? So,
Oh
but
yeah, totally, 100%.
well, I want to say thank you for being on the program. I also want to thank everybody that's involved with the production of Sovereign Innovations because you guys are doing good work out there spreading the knowledge. And also, we get to see some more natives in the media that are not just playing up to what they're being told to do, which is always good. And also, I hope that PBS renews you guys or however they do their web series because it needs to keep going. The topic is bottomless. Like
Oh yeah.
you could go forever. And if you guys want to mine any of our stuff, we normally have a subscriber named T Wipe. He's not here today, or I don't see him in the chat, but he gives out a lot of suggestions for stuff. So you could go back and check all of our live streams where he's gone in and he knows all the history. It's like, hey, you guys should do a video about this, or you should do a video about that, or we'll have an author on and he'll say, you need to write a book about this, and the author's like, I never heard of that. So
Oh my god.
there's a lot of
We need
leads in
him in
there.
the writers'
Yeah,
room. Like, where is
that's
this guy?
that's what I was telling him. I was like, you need to come down. We got positions open. So, but I want to thank you again for being on. We're at 21 minutes. I don't see any more questions. Is there anything about Sovereign Innovations or anything attached to the show that we haven't talked about that you think it's important to mention?
Oh my gosh. I think we covered like so much stuff. I feel like
Is there a debut schedule? Do you guys like post every Thursdays or something? I know you only have 2 more episodes, but when
yeah,
can people see those?
we try to post on Wednesdays, and our next episode is launching next month at some point. I'm trying to, like, I don't, like, we have this massive, like, spreadsheet schedule, and, like, clearly I'm not with it, Jared. I'm
Well,
clearly, I'm
yeah.
just surviving on vibes and caffeine
No,
at
it's
this
okay. You're
point.
the host. You're not responsible for that part of the thing. Like
Yeah, that's Ben's job.
exactly. Just turn the camera on. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
So, but keep your eyes out, guys. There'll be 2 more episodes.
2 more episodes coming up, and if anyone's in the what is it called, Albuquerque, New Mexico
Mm,
area next week for the Gathering of Nations powwow, I'll be going there. I'll be there. We're filming some stuff on location, and if you're a fan of the show, I would love for you to just come up to me and say hi. And that would be
absolutely.
pretty cool. I love connecting with other people, and I think in that, while I'm talking, um, the one thing that I really want people to just kind of know about the show is that, like, it's there's some incredible people behind it. Like, I am like so blessed to have like the best team. So I just really quickly want to shout out Ben, Lee, Joey, Noah, Greg, Ashley, Joan, the folks at PBSDS, my partner Vincent, who is always like getting me through it. Like, um, I don't manage my stress very well. I get very like overwhelmed like very easily. So um, he's really great at calming me down, but also like listening to my pitches and my rough drafts and laughing at my jokes. So I just wanted to shout those folks out. Oh my gosh! And my twin sister Kiowa, my brother Sequoia, my mom Janice, and the folks at KQED, and
Awesome.
all the native folks that we've had on the show. Y'all are awesome. I hope you see this. I'm gonna watch this back later and cringe, and that's
No, no,
okay
no.
because
You are
it
a
lives on the
consummate.
internet forever.
You are a consummate professional because that was going to be my next question was the shout outs. Do you have anybody you want to shout out? And you just went ahead and
I
did it.
anticipated
You,
it.
you knew. One of the other things that we haven't done that is a tradition for us is, do you want? And I'm not. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the Chiricahua Apaches, but do you have like a clan or a house or anything that you want to shout out? That type of stuff, cultural stuff you want to shout out?
Badonkahe. That's my clan.
All right.
My dad, he taught me like little stuff like here and there, but
Mm-hmm.
he told me that we were from the Badonkahe clan. I might be
Awesome.
mispronouncing that, and that was like my hesitation in the beginning. I'm like, I don't want to
No.
butcher this, but
y-
it's like I'd rather the words fumble out of my mouth than not try at all.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and that's part of the thing, down here in Creek Nation, everybody says their clan and their tribal town, and it's a and we go further, like it's like my grandma is so and so, my grandpa is so and so, and that's like a something you do as your foreword before you even begin to speak about anything that you're doing, is you give honor to everybody, and so it's great that you were able to say that. Guys, we're at 25 minutes. I don't see any more questions. We've done all the thank yous and the shout outs. It's been a great time, Miss Bearfoot. You're welcome to come back on the program anytime. And maybe we could do a collab with Sovereign Innovations at some time in the future, and do one of those things where the YouTube channels collabs or something.
Hey, man, that would be awesome. We just do like a live show. We have a topic.
Yeah.
You and I are mediating. Maybe we bring on a few like special guests.
Yeah, you guys, what you ought to do is you ought to come down for the election season or something next year. If you guys get picked up for another thing, you could do an election year down here, which is craziness. So
I think I saw enough election coverage and bad press. I was in my seat. I was telling Rebecca when I interviewed her last year, I was like, I was so anxious. It felt like a Jordan Peele movie. Like the amount of anxiety I had watching that. So like my hands are sweating just thinking about it. Oh my God.
Yeah, we're talking about it. My hands just started sweating. So, well, I appreciate it. And guys, here's what's coming up. So I know I told you last week we were going to do a Lawyered Up. And you may hear that I sound a little sick because I got sick last week. So that's why we didn't have a Lawyered Up. I'm going to do a Lawyered Up. It's going to be tomorrow at 6. So if you guys are interested in that, tune into that. It's just some updates. So, and then we are going to be going to a Tulsa Chamber of Commerce tribal leaders speech meeting thing on Thursday, and then also we're going to be covering the art market on Saturday at the River Spirit Casino. So those videos will be coming out sometime next week, and that's what you guys got to look forward to coming up on our channel here. Miss Bearfoot, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and you guys out there, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Mado Hadum Chihichat Lees.
Bye, y'all.